Welcome to Front of Book Texas. I'm Christy Ramirez. Conversations with the creators and icons driving lifestyle and culture today. From Texas to the world, timeless, untamed. Texas creativity, global influence. You can't miss today's episode. It's all about food and restaurants in Texas. Food is a reflection of culture, and that culture is changing in Texas. Today I'm chatting with food writer Courtney E. Smith. She grew up in an East Texas restaurant-owning family, and that paired with her media career, which includes time at CBS Radio, Refinery 29, and almost a decade at MTV, informs how she works. Honest, informative, and ethical. She's recently launched Ravenous, a worker-owned food culture website and newsletter serving up thoughtful food writing from around the world. Today we talk influencers, what's happening with media now, and what she thinks is the best chicken fried steak in Texas.
It's really difficult now for restaurateurs and owners and chefs because there is an ROI they can track with influencers. They can say, I hired this person and this many people came in, and it's not super direct, but it's direct enough that if you if you run the campaign properly, you can tell who brought people in. But when it comes to press, it's much more nebulous. Like, it's hard to track who read this and came in, how quickly did that happen, what was the return on doing this interview. With press, it's more about doing it because then you know the people at the Beards and the Michelin Guide are reading it and using those outlets to decide where to dine.
Yeah, which in turn, like long term for some of these restaurants is more valuable, but short term, it's like you've got to pay your staff. You've got
to activate that new brunch service. Yeah, seriously, I'm not even kidding.
I totally get it. It's like there's room for both things.
There's room for both things, for sure. The problem is media literacy and making disclosures. A lot of influencers don't disclose that they've made an ad.
Right.
And it's informative, but it's not opinionated and it's not real. I hear a lot of people, whenever they find out what my job is, tell me, oh, I've been to this place, and I've just had a lot of bad experiences following influencer content. I don't know how to figure out where to go. Right before I left, Eater partnered with, I forget which academic institution, and we did a study on Gen Z's media preferences. And for news consumption and food and just finding out what's new and cool around them, they just want a quick video. And a lot of outlets old school media outlets need to be pivoting to creating that content that delivers that information in the way that people want it. There's nothing really inherently wrong with wanting a quick, vibey video, but it can be more than that. I'm trying to prove that with my content. Yeah. It can be deeper and people will like it and engage with it.
Yeah, it's so true. Like you can see even with outlets like Texas Tribune and Texas Monthly and even D Magazine now, where they're having their editors do these little snippets of here's a quick summary of what this article is, and if you want more, come and click here. So it's an interesting pivot. It's a necessary pivot. Where's the best chicken fried steak in Texas?
It's at Jerry's in Onalaska, Texas. I'm so glad you asked me that.
So how far is that from Dallas? Because I do consider myself a chicken fried steak connoisseur. And I want to know how far it is. And I also want to know what makes it the best chicken fried steak in Texas.
So Jerry's is my family's restaurant, and it's on Lake Livingston in East Texas, in a little bitty town called Onalaska that most of you have never heard of, and I assume you've never heard of. Yeah. It's named after my grandfather, Jerry, and my great-grandfather, also Jerry, helped found that town. Onalaska was built when they put Lake Livingston in, and my great-grandfather was a farmer who had a farm where the lake is. And there's a lot of family history in the restaurant. He farmed purple hull peas, so that's all my aunt serves, not black-eyed peas, but purple hull peas. And he had a lot of beehives, so we have these beautiful yeast rolls that are gigantic, and they're served with honey. Bread service comes with your meal.
Oh my God.
And the chicken fried steak is legendary.
My family's from South Texas, and so every time I would drive to South Texas, I would always stop in Georgetown at Monument Cafe and eat there. And I always thought that was the best chicken fried steak, and I would get it with mashed potatoes and mac and cheese on the side, or green beans.
Yeah,
but
green
now
beans is
when
solid.
I heard about Jerry's, it was like, wait, hold on. How far is it from Dallas?
It's about a 3-hour drive from Dallas.
Okay,
it's closer to Houston, but It's worth it if you're looking for a road trip. I'm telling you, it is like your Texas, the platonic ideal of a Texas all-day cafe.
Everybody talks about barbecue. Everybody talks about Tex-Mex. Those are always going to be staples here in Texas. But like, what's an emerging food trend you think could kind of like give it a little bit of competition? Those
I
two
am
things?
seeing more and more restaurants embrace indigenous food, which I think is so cool.
Okay.
There's Hooker's Grill in Fort Worth, which does fry bread tacos and some other indigenous foods.
Oh.
There's the Preserve in Kima, which is down on the Gulf Coast near League City, kind of close to Galveston.
Yeah.
And that is like a tasting menu. And the chef there also opened Ishta in Houston, which is all indigenous food tasting menu restaurant.
Oh my gosh.
I was at Isidore in San Antonio, and they did this really cool bread cart that is Cherokee style bread.
What
So
is that?
it's a mix of like acorns and nut flour and regular flour, and then this butter that they mashed up at the table that had just a ton of different locally foraged ingredients in it that became the glue to hold things together.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was intense, though. It was like a very dense bread service. Not the bread, the service was like, this is a lot of history I didn't know.
Yeah.
And when I was in San Antonio, I went to Michelin, and they were doing an 1883 to the signing of the Texas Constitution menu. And
wow.
it was really cool. But one of the dishes was particularly about indigenous cooking.
I mean, I've only eaten there once before, but I think the programming that they have there is so special that it's kind of a rotation, and they concentrate specifically on one area and kind of become specialists in that area like over the course of 6 weeks. So I guess it's not surprising, but usually they cover like Mexico.
There are tons of indigenous people that were part of Mexico.
Yeah.
Especially when Texas was part of Mexico.
Yeah.
There's also, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, Perrot Cafe out in near El Paso. That is a cafe style place, not fine dining, but fry bread and a lot of other, and all of it is indigenous food. And I haven't been there yet, but it's on my wish list.
Yeah. I mean, El Paso, I think El Paso has a really cool culture.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before. I was saying it again. I stand by it. I think the most creative people from Texas come from El Paso. But yeah, I got to put that one on my list too. Is there anything that you think is kind of underrated and deserves more attention?
You know, I've been thinking about this question, and honestly, no. I think like everything we're doing right now is perfectly rated. And like, what's underrated are small businesses. That is the most important thing. Knowing who owns the restaurants you're eating at, and how they're spending the money you're giving them.
Yeah.
How they're paying their employees.
Yeah.
Do they pay a fair wage? Do they pay above a fair wage? Is there health insurance? Do employees get to learn anything?
Yeah.
That's so underrated, and it needs to really seriously be something we're all considering, especially in this environment. I mean, I'm a big believer in grab your wallet, and the way that I vote for politics, the way that I vote for businesses in my city and what I want to see in my city is with my money.
Yeah, totally. I agree. And I think that like having some kind of career track, I mean, that's not very normal like in the F&B industry, you know. It's like you have your bussers and you have your servers, and then you have like these career servers, right? And so it's like being able to lay out some track. Health insurance also is like such a huge thing. Not a lot of people offer health insurance.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm right there with you.
And this circles back to our earlier conversation about why is it important to not just, you know, follow influencers, but to read the articles.
Yeah.
Your journalists are the people who are painting for you the characters of who are the shakers and movers in any part of industry in your city, but food especially. Like, we're always looking for who's the chef to talk about, who's the owner that's doing special stuff or bad stuff. Like,
or bad stuff. That's what you need to know. This is the kind of thing that you're supporting. And I know that James Beard, they have there's a category that they have that is about like sustainable practices, and they really want to know, you know, some of the questions when you look at those categories. It's like, what are you doing to like improve the culture? What are you doing to help your employees? And so they really do dig into that.
That stuff is really important because sustainability isn't sustainable if it doesn't benefit everyone. And if you can't keep your business open doing it, sustainability shouldn't cost you your business.
Yeah.
And it should lift all boats.
Yeah.
It should be about equitability as well.
No, totally. And then there's also people that are doing, vegetarian, vegan menus, and then also smaller menus for people that are like on GLP-1s.
Right.
Do you think that is something that we're going to see more of?
Absolutely. The GLP-1 plate is a really interesting question because I've thought for a long time in Texas that our plates are far too big.
Yeah.
And I think that's not just a GLP-1 question or a weight loss question, it is a cost question as well.
Mm-hmm.
Beef prices are at an all-time high this year, and that's a big deal in Texas for sure. Even at your grocery store, it costs more than it's ever cost to buy beef. So I think the idea of smaller plates has been around, and we've been conditioning people into it for a while. And the idea of shared plates at most fine dining restaurants, we've also been getting people on board with.
Yeah.
And I think you're just going to see that proliferate because for restaurant owners, it is more economically feasible than the big, giant, overserved plate where people take a ton of leftovers home.
Yeah, I mean, steaks. I was somewhere recently and I ordered a 6-ounce steak. It's here in Dallas and it's a restaurant that I really love. It's just like straight down the middle. Love going there. And the steak is $58.
That's about right for a 6 or 8 ounce thing. And I bet if you're going to charge me that, I want to see the pedigree of the steak on the menu. It better say,
coming from?
Yeah, it better say which ranch it came from. It better be local to this area. It better have traveled less than 100 miles to get here.
Yeah.
Like, I will vote with my dollars for that steak if it's a good steak.
I mean, that's I've never even considered to ask that, but I might ask next time I order it. I'll tell you, I haven't ordered it the last few times because I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's too much money.
It's too much money. But I also understand that, like, you've got to make money.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, with the beef prices, like, I get it, but it does seem like, I think across the board, like, things are just getting so expensive.
Yes. Well, we've seen 11 Madison Park, which is one of the most famous restaurants in the country in New York City, go from a vegan and vegetarian menu back to serving beef because customers were demanding it. Like, people were not coming in to pay that much money to eat just vegetables.
Yeah.
So I think it proves something. It shows that you got to get high spending customers in, you have to have that option on the menu.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we're going to see more vegetarian and vegan restaurants in the future, but I think we are going to see smaller and shared plates a lot more.
Yeah, and I think especially in Texas, like, it's just, you can't deny it. Like, people grow up on beef here. It's just kind of part of the culture. What ingredient do you think we're going to see more of, and what would you like to see less of?
Okay. I think we're going to see way more of pecans, and as Texans, I love that for everybody. But you're going to see a lot more pecan in coffee shops and in bakeries and pastries, and I expect to see it across desserts. I hope to see it in some savory courses too, in some unusual uses. But it's in Texas, one of the most prolific things that we have that just grows naturally in East Texas. So. We've got to use them up. My grandmother used to buy gigantic bags of pecans and just like eat them and force them on us all throughout the year. They would live in her freezer.
Totally. Oh my God, I'm getting triggered right now. My grandmother was the same way. She had a huge pecan tree in her backyard, and there would just be like bags and bags of them. And so everything we had nuts on it. And when I was growing up, I hated it. And now I have in my pantry right now, there's a bag of like pecans from Central Market that I get from like the bulk section. I love a pecan now.
You know what's great is a honey pecan latte. It's amazing.
Where can I get that?
In my imagination.
Oh.
No, I think you'll be seeing it.
Somebody needs to
pick it up.
Somebody needs to
steal my
that.
ideas.
Yes.
And the other thing I think we're going to see a lot of is not an ingredient per se, but sustainable packaging. Takeaway is a big thing. And honestly, takeaway hasn't gone away since COVID. Orders have remained really, really high. It's a huge revenue stream for a lot of restaurants that are not fine dining. So moving to more and more and more sustainable practices and packages in that area is a huge deal for our landfills.
Yeah. Is there one restaurant or a couple of restaurants in small towns around the state that you're like, this is worth the drive.
I am really obsessed with Stephen Piles opening the Seeker, the restaurant there out in Stephenville.
Yes.
I have so many questions, like how's that going? How is it impacting the town of Stephenville? We've seen around there Granbury and other places, and I mean even Mineral Wells getting some amount of tourism and interest in the past few years, but Stephenville just kind of was like, whatever. I would love to know how that hotel, which is such a cute little boutique spot, and Stephen and his wine dinners and what he's doing.
I've wondered
How
about
is it impacting the people
I've
there?
wondered about that too. That whole surrounding area, and I think all the stuff that's like how that area is kind of growing in popularity because of like Taylor Sheridan and him, you know, like really putting a spotlight on it in Mineral Wells. I mean, they've been named like the wellness capital of Texas because of the crazy water. It's a very cool place. I mean, a lot of people from Austin actually started moving there a few years ago with that hotel opening and the Baker Hotel, like resurgence and stuff, renovations.
Yeah, and I went a few years ago and I could see that it was already impacting the town and things were changing and around the crazy water and the renovation of the Baker Hotel, which is a fascinating project that seems to stop and start yearly.
I know.
All these cute things opening, like a cute little wine shop and a cute little breakfast and lunch place. And then there's the stuff that's been there for a while. And it's a culture clash that's happening in Mineral Wells, but it's an interesting place to go for a weekend if you've got the drive in you.
There's a Dairy Queen in Mineral Wells. It's an old school Dairy Queen. And you can get a milkshake there, and they have they mix in, is it either that they mix in the drippings from the onion rings into the milkshake, or yes, or they add some of the milkshake to the onion ring batter. It's one or the other.
Wow, either way,
and I had
great idea.
Things, and I remember being like, this is awesome and so unusual and weird and so Mineral Wells.
One of the other things we noticed this year, the James Beards in Texas nominated multiple restaurants in Marfa. And Marfa's always been a great destination, but it hasn't been a great food destination.
In a long time.
In a long time.
In a very long time.
But it seems like not only are people opening very good restaurants there now, there's at least a few that are opening them 5 to 7 days a week instead of just on the weekend. But Texas Monthly just did this article on the Water Stop, which is a cafe, a family-owned thing, and they're the place that's finally open every day of the week, which is an anomaly.
Yeah, it
Marfa.
is. Yeah.
Can I also talk to you about Waco? I
Yes.
became an evangelist because I had to cover it for Eater.
Okay.
And, you know, it gets a lot of attention because of Magnolia and Fixer Upper and all of that. Can I just tell you, you can have a wonderful time in Waco and never go to anything involving Magnolia.
Like what? I mean, give us
Red Herring is an unbelievable restaurant inside the Herringbone Hotel. And they got a guy who was a chef at Uji in Austin for a long time. It was the first raw bar opened in Waco.
Oh my gosh.
And he oversees that whole kitchen and partnered with the guy that does Milo All Day Cafe.
Okay.
So it has that sort of cool flavor to it. Milo's also an amazing place to eat in Waco. And it also has the first chef's table in Waco.
Wow.
Which is all covered in the platinum veneer so that it feels like you're eating literally in a kitchen.
Oh my God.
It's really so cool.
Okay, I love that. I did not know that about Waco. So
it's a little cooler than we all thought. Also, Surf Waco is completely amazing. It's worth going to.
Oh yeah. I've heard amazing things about it, and I've never been.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Food is also very good.
Okay, cool. I love that. Waco. Okay, we got to put it on your list. Tell me a little bit about food trucks in the different cities around Texas. It's not totally cohesive. The laws are a little bit different for every city. Can you kind of tell our listeners and our watchers a little bit about why it looks so different, like in Dallas versus what it looks like in Austin or in Houston or in San Antonio?
So for years, there hasn't been a statewide law regulating food truck licensing. And it is whatever city you're in, whatever rules they've instituted, that's how it is. Dallas didn't particularly give a crap about having food trucks, didn't want them, unless it's something that's licensing for Clyde Warren Park specifically, or certain areas in South Dallas where they're allowing it that's it. And that's really unfortunate because food trucks are a huge stepping stone to opening a restaurant.
Brick and mortar, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also really important for underrepresented communities because sometimes the food truck is the only thing that is a path for you.
Yeah.
And also for caterers, a lot of caterers have a food truck as well that is like an extra income stream. In Austin, food truck is culture. Like that is, there are coffee shops with food trucks parked permanently there.
Yeah.
And it will be Parish Barbecue, the new best barbecue place in the state this year. So it is not secondary to restaurants. It is maybe better than a restaurant.
Yeah.
So the Texas Ledge in the last session, of all the things they did one very good thing, which was pass one statewide licensing regulation for
So
food
across
trucks.
the board now.
Yeah, so it's much simpler. It's very one step, and the fees are the same for everybody, which evens the playing field. And I'm really hoping that we'll see an uptick
Yeah.
in Dallas. Houston doesn't have the same food truck culture as Austin, but it has more than Dallas.
Yeah.
So hopefully an uptick
So
there
maybe
too.
yeah. So maybe we'll see like what? Like you think in the
Yeah.
next year?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the big thing in Dallas is you still have to get a permit to park your food truck somewhere. So
Oh.
that
One
is
more
still a
stepping stone.
hurdle. Yeah, a little
Yeah.
more red tape.
You started your career at MTV
Yeah.
as a production assistant.
I moved to New York at 22 in the year 2000 to work at MTV, but I had been interning there a lot in college. I went to Austin College in Sherman, and they used to have a thing called Jan Term, where you took one class for the month of January. So I started going to New York and interning for a month at MTV in Times Square, and I worked at MTV.com and MTV News and MTVnews.com. One of the people I'd worked for was starting MTV2.com, and they hired me to be their production assistant on the project. And it was the Wild West because MTV2 was still the Wild West then. And I was like spending all my time digitizing just videos that I liked that weren't on the website yet, or getting bands to give us MP3s just because I wanted to.
MP3s, oh my gosh, but was it so fun? Were you kind of like, I work at MTV? Like I would have been freaking out.
It was really fun. So there was a point, my cousins and I also spent a lot of time watching MTV, especially during the summers at our grandparents' house and annoying them endlessly. And at one point, my grandfather, Jerry, walked in while Motley Crue's Girls, Girls, Girls was on.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like, this channel's banned in this house. I don't want to see it ever again.
Such a great video.
I was really excited to tell him when I got the job at MTV.
Guess where I'm working. Oh my God.
He was delighted. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was scary to move to New York and like not really know anybody and just be like, I know this dude that hired me and I guess I'll get an apartment. How do you do that? It was weird. And then
I mean,
it was cool. Like very quickly, it was really cool.
Wow. I know that you have so many stories and I feel like it's just so legendary in my mind. Like that network was so disruptive and so extraordinary at the time. And my kids don't even know what MTV is. I'm like,
it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything anymore. And it's like, oh God, it's kind of heartbreaking. But
it so shaped like so much of my taste in music, for better and for worse. It's really weird to me culturally that it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But I was there until 2008. And that I felt like a lot of us think that was kind of the end of MTV's cultural relevance. Like in the time that I was there, I was working in the music programming department and putting together like indie rock became so big. So I was working with Vampire Weekend and Death Cab for Cutie and Franz Ferdinand and ushering them through from their scene of cool hipster music into MTV's scene of Britney Spears and Lil Jon and whatever. And there was one time, this is one of my favorite stories, in 2005 when I had to invite Death Cab for Cutie to be on an MTV Live concert. Like they taped a show that aired for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And the lineup was Sarah Silverman was the MC. Bands were Death Cab, Nickelback, Mary J. Blige, and Sean Paul.
Oh
and I was like, the person who told me to issue the invite to them was like, told me as if we were doing them a huge favor. And I was just like, you want me to explain to them that they're going to be
like with this group?
and convince them to show up.
Okay.
Cool.
Did they show up?
They did. And I later found out, they didn't tell me that night, that at some point Jeremy Piven was there and out of his mind on drugs and asked if he could be their drummer.
What?
Yeah.
If he could be Death Cab's drummer?
Yeah, if he
was
could just
like,
play with them in the
can
show.
I sub in?
Yeah. And
confidence.
they didn't like any of that. So it
Oh
was
my God.
it was fun for everybody.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I love Death Cab. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit of rapid fire. So this is like, just tell me off the top of your head, is it this or is it that? Like,
Okay.
what do you prefer? Okay. This is hard. Like when I look at these, I'm like, oh God, I don't want anybody to ask me these questions because I don't know if I could answer them.
Yeah.
Okay, barbecue or Tex-Mex?
Tex-Mex. Easily.
Galveston or Hill Country?
Galveston, because I grew up in Houston. Like, that's just where you go for prom. I don't know. After prom party is Galveston.
September State Fair or spring rodeo season?
This is maybe the hardest one because I love them both, but I think it might be the rodeo.
East Texas Piney Woods or West Texas Desert?
Actually, I'm going to choose West Texas Desert. I lived in San Antonio for a while, and I always felt like there was a point in San Antonio where you felt the terrain change.
Yeah.
And I really love that. Like, I love the way it feels.
Miranda or Casey?
I refuse. I will not choose. No, I love them both.
So hard. And you wrote a story.
I've interviewed both of them and written stories about both of them.
Your headline for Miranda was, yes, Miranda Lambert married a cop.
Married a hot cop.
Married a hot
but
cop.
she's also a country music singer or something
yes,
like that.
It's such a great headline.
The amount of conversations we had about that headline were ridiculous. That was at Refinery 29. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We talked about that one for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, Luke or Owen?
Oh, Luke.
Okay.
A million times Luke.
Okay. Rio Grande or the Guadalupe?
The Guadalupe. I have such good memories of tubing down the Guadalupe as a kid. Like,
me too. Oh my gosh, it was such a big experience and such a big deal. Like the first time you did that as a teenager with your friends and your ice chest and the
and
whole
also
thing.
like imprinted John Cougar Mellencamp's Little Pink Houses blasting and looking at all the houses while we did that. It's just, I think of that every time I hear that song.
So good. I love that memory. I-45 or I-20? So headed east or headed west?
I-20.
Dazed and Confused or Bottle Rocket?
Dazed and Confused. I mean, there's just so much happening in that movie.
I know. And then these are two female authors that are from very, very different eras, but Sandra Brown or Patricia Highsmith?
Patricia Highsmith, and also, how did you come up with that comparison? I was wondering.
So they both were both female writers, both from Texas, and both like thriller. You know, they wrote thrillers.
Okay.
And while even, Sandra Brown was much more prolific. I mean, 73 New York Times best-selling novels. That's 73.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Patricia's way more iconic.
She is so iconic. Tito's or Lalo?
I'm going to pick neither. Can I pick Socorro?
Yeah,
from
Socorro.
Dallas?
Yes, you
I
can.
love that. And it's one of the only tequilas that doesn't give me a hangover. So I absolutely adore it.
Okay, I love that. Thank you so much, Courtney. I am so happy that you came on. I've wanted to have this conversation with you for a while, and I just love you. I just love your background, and I'm so excited for you and like all the things that I know you're going to do.
This has been Front of Book Texas. We've got a new conversation every 2 weeks, so don't just listen, subscribe, follow, and share. I want to thank my executive producer, Georgiana Moreland. Front of Book Texas. Texas creativity, global reach.